I'm going to do a perspective drawing project tutorial video demonstration drawing thing of this, and it is basically just sort of a fleshed out entire setup for a one-point perspective scene. You could either think of this as a common how you might start drawing something inside a room, or it can be a bookshelf, or it could be a shelving with something here, or it could be a dollhouse, or it could be all sorts of things. And so it's important to be able to understand how you navigate in 3 dimensions. And obviously it's confusing. So setting up a grid like this and understanding, just manipulating in your brain that much more will have you have it that much more natural, so be that much easier. Anyways, for the first video, I'm gonna just sketch in. I have I have brand new ruler. I'm not so sure, but I'm gonna sketch in really lightly the basics of how I would start something like this. There's a couple different ways you can start. So you can start from the back, or you can start from the front. I'm going to imagine that this is my my back, the back furthest side of this this thing, and that the eye level, the horizontal eye level, I sometimes call it, also known as the horizon, it's going to be there, and this is going to be the vanishing point. And it is also helpful to think of this vertical alignment, line of sight, horizontal, basically separating the world into stuff that is above us and stuff that's below us, stuff that's to the left and to the right. So that's a basic idea for that. I'm going to now start creating some perspective lines that will aim me towards the front face of this project object. It's a little dark. It's a little better, but keep that all really light and really ghosty. And if it gets too dark, and knock it back a little bit. So now I'm going to, I'm just going to I've drawn in this back edge, basically, and I've chosen a vanishing point that's sort of in the upper left. Not sort of, it is in the upper left. And so I'll continue on, and I'm gonna decide on this front closest. Face. And that is a little bit just up to not a little bit. It's just sort of what I feel like at this particular moment, and I may change it around, or I may say, you know, that's fine. But everything that you set up here, all your lines and points, will affect the overall appearance. It's sort of in the no duh category, but the different setups will have a very different feel. So it's fun to play with as many as you can, and you know, make a back wall and make the vanishing point down here, or the vanishing point up here, or smack dab in the middle. Make the back wall. Start with the back wall that's wider. I'm calling them walls, aren't I? Okay, I suppose it's a wall now. Oh, wow, sorry. I just hit my head. Possibly because I was thinking about that term. Anyways, here's going to be my back wall, I'm going to say, and then I have sketched in my horizon and my vertical line of sight. And I have the closest edge. Maybe I'll just call them planes. These are planes that are facing us. And we're trying to sort of understand the different planes receding into space. And eventually we're going to have one in the middle there. But for now, what I'm going to do is continue on with some construction lines. And I'm going to do the crisscross for each of these walls, sides, and you can see, try to sort of leave them really lightly in there, but that's going to be on each one, and that'll help. But it starts, as you can tell, to get pretty busy and pretty technical. And that's why it helps to try to keep a really light touch. And here's what I'm going to do first before I continue on. And I probably should have done this already, but I'm going to use my patented different size points to help start giving a sense of what is closer and what is further. So I'm just going to put, this is the furthest away plane. So I'll put the small dots there, smallest ones. I'll put bigger ones here. These will probably end up, who knows, probably bigger. But even just something like this will help cue our brains that of what the heck we're trying to draw here. Here's the ceiling, I suppose. I think I'm leaning towards the room metaphor. But that's one of the really important things to understand about perspective drawing, is that it really is just setting up the rules and then applying to them to any subject matter that you happen to be drawing. So where these lines, the crisscross lines, intersect will be the exact perspective center of each of those, the walls and the ceiling and the floor. And to help understand, well, I'm gonna keep going and I'll show you here. One way to help figure out these is to split any true horizontal line in half. Let's see, and figure it out that way, as far as dividing up this space to continue to understand what's going on. That is true in certain situations. It's also a very good idea to get comfortable with extending a line through from the vanishing point through that center point to help with that as well. I'm just going to do the same for this right wall. It wasn't perfect. Same for the ceiling here. And then the same for this left wall. So let me beef up some of these lines to hopefully indicate a little better just what's going on here. If you've seen some of my other videos, and any little goofy thing that can help you remember all this stuff, because it's pretty crazy. One of the things I like to think about is imagining this capital letter A, and it just so happens that the capital letter A also has the bottom points joined. And that one way to think, especially of, well, actually all sorts of perspective, is this setup, this sort of triangle where there's a point here and it's being projected through three others. There's a lot of A's out there, capital A's, you might say, and indeed, this sort of situation is kind of set up with four of them. This bottom one, you could think of this combination as an upside down capital A, a very wide one. Hopefully you can see that. And then we got one facing the side, on the side, over here. And then one facing sideways over here. Excuse me. So I'm gonna, that's helping, that's good. I'm gonna knock back some of these lines so that they stop confusing me as much as they are, but I still want them around. I'm gonna have to practice drawing with a ruler because it's too easy, especially with a sharp pencil, to just sort of dig into the paper too, I think. Anyways. So that's what we have going. If I was to do that just in a really no-nonsense way, just sort of sketching and trying to practice, I would likely I might start out with the bigger outer rectangle, closer plane. Choose where a vanishing point might be. Sketch in my my capital A's, the apexes. And then the crossbars, and once again, hopefully this is somewhat accurate, and if so, then these should line up with each other to create another rectangle. I suppose this is the non-technical demonstration of this. try to sort of just, well, I was going to say speed through it to see if I could do it accurate enough and sort of quick. And I can tell these are not so accurate, and indeed I'm sort of just looking at my initial setup, so everything impacts everything else, which is another reason why you gotta keep it all light and sketchy. It's very helpful if it's in a if it's very changeable for as long as possible. At least that's the way I like doing it. So that's the non-technical way of doing that. And this was more the technical way, but both the same idea. I'll stop there for now, and I'll come back and continue on with more construction lines and building stuff out to look something like that.